And from the MassillonLIVE news desk, it's the update that we try to do every, week to 10 days with State Representative Thomas West here representing our local communities here in Stark County. Thomas, welcome back to the show, my friend.
It's always good. Always a pleasure. Always a pleasure to be on your show.
And I know that, and thank you, and I know that you've been quite busy with the things that have been going on relating to COVID-19, but you're actually possibly going back to work a little bit later this week, correct?
I'm going back to work tomorrow, yes. And, of course, we've never really stopped working.
Sure.
And, working from home every day, we have the Economic Recovery Task Force meetings that we do online and hear from folks all across the state of Ohio. But tomorrow we actually physically go back. We have Finance Committee that will be hearing testimony tomorrow. Okay. I'm ready to go back tomorrow. And then on Wednesday and Thursday, we have scheduled sessions. So
good. I'm
anxious to get back to work, but also at the same time a little bit fearful of, the unknown. Obviously, we'll all have to kind of see how that plays out this week.
Do you have a state representative mask that says Thomas West on it?
I don't, but I do have. My sister mailed me. She actually made 10 masks out of that hazmat material.
Cool.
So I have 10 masks that I'm going to take with me and share some with my staff and some others, but we'll be protected tomorrow.
That's good to know. Right. Now, as we get into our update this week from yourself, what are you seeing out there, Thomas, pertaining to, I know that we had talked prior to going on the air here, there's a few things that are somewhat bothersome that you've seen.
Yes. There's some things that are going on. There's a lot of people right now that's angry, and not able to contain that. And as you can see, Director Atkins, who's the state director for health, they're going out and protesting in front of her house, and they're putting crap on her porch and things of that nature. That's the kind of stuff that we can't get into that. I get the fact that everyone's angry about, not being back to work. But this has only been a 6-week shutdown so far, and people are losing their minds. And the Governor DeWine started out with the One Ohio. I think we need to really stay focused on that. And what I mean by that is we can open up slowly, but at the same time, let's contain our anger and let's be respectful and responsible citizens, if you will, as we approach each other, And when you're out and about, make sure you're wearing your mask because, that's being respectful of your of other people. I'm all supportive, and I understand everybody's dilemma. So let's try to be respectful during this time. And these people out there, they're working just as hard. They're going home with their families. They don't need to be intimidated by, someone's anger.
Yeah, that was pretty classless. I mean, I've seen some of the stories in front of Dr. Acton's home, and she is a medical person. She's a scientist. She's a doctor, and her, she's had death threats against her, as the governor has, from people. I understand people are angry, and angry is the result of frustration, and they have a right to be frustrated. They have a right to be angry, but it's you want to be angry at the pandemic. You don't want to be angry at people that are trying to protect your lives, and that's what the governor's trying to do.
Because I was listening to the Ohio Department of Job and Family Services, and a director there. She's doing a wonderful job, even though you see that unemployment claims aren't getting paid out on time and things of that nature. This system is taking care of the brunt of all of Ohio.
Right.
Meaning they're taking care of all of the Medicaid claims, all the additional food stamps claims, 1.1 million unemployed people at one system that usually serves a couple 100,000. So you're talking about a department, they're taking care of the daycare. This is just one department. So when you look at Director Kim Hall, who's taking on all of this, who just started a little less than over a year ago, and, she's taken on the brunt of all this. And I just give them all a hand because they're working hard for us, and I get that, their system isn't prepared or enough to be able to handle it. And now it is, but they're catching up. And I would tell people, be patient. You'll get your money. And I understand if you don't, if you're having problems, look out to a relative and reimburse that relative. Do what you have to do to get by. Let's work together to help each other and move forward. And I'm willing to help. If you need to call me, if you're not getting something, I'll try my best to help you get through that process.
Yeah, I know that. I know that when it comes to asking people to be patient, we get that, and you get that. And however, asking somebody that has no more money, and they have to go to the food banks and they have to stand in line because they have to be patient because the system needs to catch up with the demand, which is exactly what it is. The system needs to catch up with the demand. The demand was created by the disease. That was not caused by people. In managing that demand on a statewide level, I really think Governor DeWine and Amy Acton and those, they're doing everything they can, but yet again, sadly to say, it may not be quick enough. It may not be good enough, but it's not their fault. They're just trying to make things happen as fast as they can. And yes, you appeal to patience, but people are so frustrated, and I understand that this is probably something you see every day.
Yeah, and JD, I'll say this: you hit the nail on the head. These people, they come to work every day, and they're putting in their long hours. And guess what? They're working some of them are working from home as well. Right. So they don't even have all the resources at their fingertips because they're also practicing social distancing and all that stuff. We're challenged as a state, and we're challenged as a nation right now. And one thing for sure, we have to try your best to be understanding and respectful, but at the same time, reach out for help and keep trying until that phone gets free or until that online system accepts your claim. So that's all I have to say about that. But I will tell you this. The people that are doing the job, they're working hard, and it's not their fault.
No, it's not their fault. And at this point, I think the pressure needs to be put on science, not to be put on the governor's office, but it's going to have to come down at the end of the day, Thomas. It's about science. The economy and its survival is going to be based on the science of this. Exactly. The things that they can do to have some kind of treatment for the symptoms to decrease the mortality rate. Things they can do to create the vaccine as fast as they can and make it a pure vaccine that works properly. It may have to be adjusted because coronavirus changes. But, it's going to be on science. So there's a tremendous amount of pressure on the scientists of the world to come up with this. But in order for them to accomplish this, politics needs to get out of the way.
Yes, and when politics, and you'll see a lot of that online. You see there's somebody that now wants to take the power of the public health away and DeWine's power to really enforce these closures. And, I don't think that that's the answer because the governor and the public health and the science, they have all the information. Right. They have all the resources at their hands. The legislature, we don't have all that. We have the information that comes in through our phones and what we see on social media. We don't have all the information at our fingertips. Correct. So it's harder for us to make those calls. That's why you have a governor to be able to make those decisions. That's why you have a mayor to make those decisions versus city council. So that's how it works at the state level. But I would just encourage everybody to just hang in there. We're going to get through this together, I'm pretty certain. Yeah, and the governor actually, he was rated the top responder as far as governors goes in the country. So in the nation. In the nation, Governor DeWine. So whether you like what he's doing or not, he's been doing it the right way according to the health officials, according to
world health officials and so forth, he's doing the right thing. So that's a healthy thing.
And here's the dilemma, because we just now actually got adequate testing.
Right.
So now we're finally able to start testing. So here's my problem I'm concerned with. As you start to see people start getting tested, now if that starts to spike up, because now you're going to actually start to see the data of people that are actually infected here in Stark County and in Ohio. Now, what do we do? If we start seeing that thing start shooting up,
right.
Do we close back down, or do we have to modify? Before, we did not know what we were dealing with. And it's, how they say this, the statement, you don't know what you don't know.
Yeah.
Well, if you don't know, and now we do know, then we're going to have to start modifying and work together. We're building this thing in flight. And
we're doing it on the run.
It's all said and done.
Yeah.
We'll be able to, we'll get it right.
Well, right. Again, at the end of the day, the testing, it plays a role, but it comes back down to science. The creation of, plasma-oriented medication that kind of neutralizes your blood system. That's one thing that's being looked at, to the other medications that reduce the mortality rate and the severity until the vaccine is created. I still think at the end of the day, as I keep using that term, that's what's going to play the role and play the difference. We had kind of an interesting scenario here in Massillon over the weekend, Thomas. As you well know, in our community, we love our classic cars. So we had a gathering. There were several car clubs that stayed in communication with each other, and they all gathered in the old parking lot at Kmart over the weekend, like they've done over the years, just to kind of compare notes. And they were pretty correct politically. A lot of folks I noticed when I drove by that they had masks on, or they talked from their cars, so they were being safe. Some maybe not so much. And then the police had to come by and disperse the crowd on the orders of the health department, and it went all smooth. It went smooth and everything. So was it a statement that was being made that we don't, every once in a while, regardless of what's going on, a community sometimes just needs to be a community. And they did that. Was it the right time or the right place? Well, maybe not. But at the end of the day, again, everything was taken care of properly. But it also opened up, we ran this story on MassillonLIVE right here. It opened up a dialogue. So many people joined the platform in dialogue with their opinions, and it really kind of took a life of its own, pertaining to people just trying to wrestle with this and how to survive it.
Yeah, that's interesting. I mean, so I guess just based on my thinking, if it was just like a parade of cars and then people drove through and looked at the cars, it's one thing. But were the people like all gathered around the cars with each other, or not practicing social distancing, or?
Well, they were all parked on inside the parking lot, but you could tell that the cars, they were probably at least 6 feet away from each other. The cars were.
Oh, okay.
And you could see people talking. I didn't see a lot of people outside walking around. I saw a few, but I also saw masks. So, I mean,
that to me then probably meets the guidelines. And
well, I don't think it did, because there were too many people in a gathered in one area. And again, that's what created the dialogue on the story that we did.
Oh, wow.
But it just kind of was. It was a humanitarian story. It was more human interest, but it was just quite interesting to see how that story evolved, and the opportunity that it created for people to dialogue about their feelings and how to survive it.
Wow. Well, I can tell you this week is going to be, we're opening everything up, and I know that, not everything, but I know the governor is he got a lot of different committees out there right now, meeting to talk about barbershops and beauty shops, to talk about restaurants, and I think what you'll hear probably this week sometime is what date that we're going to be able to open up some of the restaurants, and some of the restaurants and some of the hair salons. I think they've already started putting protocols in place to make sure that people are safe. And if they do that, then I think it can be a good thing for them to open up. And hopefully people will then support them as well. So all I can say is stay tuned.
Yeah.
Stay tuned to all the information that's out there. And by all means, stay safe, keep your mask on, and practice, washing your hands and things of that nature. That will mitigate the virus drastically. So that's one thing I would leave.
A lot of common sense there, Thomas. Will you stay in touch with us here at Massillon Live?
As always. And I thank you for, again, feeding people the information that's coming from the state level. Again, it's coming fast and furious.
Sure.
There are resources available, and we like to keep you up to date on those.
By all means, and let's stay in touch.
Okay, thank you.
Take care, Thomas. Bye-bye.